All right. So on the heels of Dustin Tibbetts' most embarrassing thing that ever happened to him, I'm going to share with you my most embarrassing thing. And there's a number of them, my friends, a number of them. But literally the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me was when I was in the Army. All right. Still to this day, how the hell did I get an honorable discharge as a light infantryman? How the hell did I make it through halfway through Ranger School? I went to a pre-range. I somehow successfully managed pre-ranger. I successfully managed combat lifesaver school. Because I was such a crap sandwich. But yet somehow, I just tell you, man, with a little bit of just digging ditches, man. Had no skill, but yet I was able to do it. It's great. If I can do this, you can do it. Trust me. When it comes to an infantryman, I'm literally a crap sandwich for an infantryman. All right? And yet I did it, dude. I never went to war or anything, thank the good Lord. But still. All right, so my most embarrassing thing. My first deployment ever. All right. So we get out of basic training. No, I guess my second deployment, because we went to Germany. Yeah, I guess it was my second deployment. So we get out of basic training at Fort Drum, from Fort Benning, go up to Fort Drum. And I guess they're going to change the name of Fort Benning. That freaking pisses me off. We don't want to make people sad with Confederate soldiers. It's Fort Benning. I didn't even know Benning was a freaking Confederate soldier until you started saying all this crap, you idiots. General Benning, I don't know what is Benning. I don't know who Benning is. I just know Fort Benning. That means Columbus, Georgia. Everybody knows this. So freaking stupid. Anyway, so I get out. So I didn't make E2 because my stupid dad was bouncing checks against my freaking payroll when I was in the Army, when I was in basic training, against my knowledge. So I went up to AFES when I got out of basic training. Let me get around this guy here real quick. And I'm writing a couple of checks, not realizing that my dad had been spending my money. And so I write these checks against AFES, and I get called in the office that I've been bouncing checks. And so I had to get an Article 15. I had to get remedial intervention or whatever from the first sergeant, all this stuff. I looked like a crap sandwich. It wasn't even my fault. Anyway, so all the guys I came up from basic were all getting promoted to E1 to E2. Trust me, the difference between E1 and E2 is like freaking 33% increase in the income, dudes. So I'm already looked at as a crap sandwich. All right, on top of that, I like to drink. So we go to a couple bars or whatever it is. I get in a fight with a local, and the local was actually being stupid. I just intervene, and anyway, long story short, the cops come, they arrest me. So I get thrown in the pen in Watertown, New York. I've only probably been in my unit for like a month, if even that. And then I get another Article 15, another remedial thing, whatever it is. And basically, at some point, they kick you out if you keep doing this. So basically, I'm a complete crap sandwich, dudes. You know what I'm saying? Complete crap sandwich. First sergeant had to come pick me up. No, I guess what first sergeant? The CQ guy in charge of quarters. Sergeant Smith, Sergeant Smith had to come get me out of jail for that. Anyway, long story short. So I'm not going anywhere in the Army. All right. So we deployed to Germany, and I did okay there. Enough to at least stay in the Army. I just do what I'm told. I don't know anything. So now we're deploying to California at Fort Irwin for an NTC, National Training Center, which is the Desert Warfare Training, and this is in 1989. I think it's May of 1989. I've literally been in the Army from November of 1988 is when I went to basic training. March of 1989, I go to my unit in Fort Drum, and we're still in the old World War II barracks. We deploy to NTC, Fort Irwin, for desert warfare training. All right, so I've only been in my unit for 2 to 3 months. Of those 2 to 3 months, I've already had 2 Article 15s, 2, I can't remember what they called it, when he had its extra duties, what they called it. Already got out of jail once, already bounced a bunch of checks. You know what I'm saying? I'm literally like the worst soldier in the history of mankind. All right. So we get to, so when you go into these airplanes to go to these training things, you take your weapons with you. All right. So what you do is you put your M16 was that an M60? I don't think it was an M60 at that point. I think it was just an M16 guy. Anyway, so you put your M16 underneath your seat. And then you give your bolts, you have to put them in this box, and they give them to the first sergeant or something like that. I can't remember. And you got to put this tag on so everyone knows whose bolt's who. You know what I'm saying? All right, so long story short, you put the tag on, you top the tag so everyone knows scaling, here's your bolt for your M16, and here's Jones's bolt for his M16 and whatnot. So we get into a company, or maybe a battalion formation as we get off the plane. We all have our weapons and all that. And they start, and I don't have my bolt. Everyone else has their bolt, and I'm like, dude, I don't know I don't know where my bolt is. Because what they did is they handed out the bolt as you got off the plane. They said, where's your bolt? And you say, scan there, here's your bolt. I don't have a bolt. And I'm just like sitting there like, holy crap, where's my bolt? In the middle of the formation, our first sergeant, and this guy's an old special forces guy, just he's like not Samoan, Filipino or something, but he's just a hardcore man, and this guy doesn't play. And he calls, says, who's missing a bolt? And I'm like, I don't want to raise my hand, because I was like, man, I'm not sure there's a way I can bail myself out of this. He goes, who's missing a bolt? So finally I said, well, I am missing a bolt. I raised my hand. In a battalion, there's like 1,000 soldiers, 500 soldiers, something like that. Anyway, and I can't remember what happened, but in a battalion, and I don't know any of these guys. I just know the guys I came up with basic training with, and how I even passed basic training, I don't know, dudes. I couldn't hit the freaking broadside with a rifle of a barn, you know what I'm saying, at 5 meters. I just not a good soldier. Anyway, so the first sergeant, whatever his name, Tagusa whatever his name was, calls me up in front of maybe it was just a company. I think it's a whole battalion. So maybe it's a sergeant major. I don't remember. Maybe it was just a company. Calls me up in front of the whole company and to come get my bolt. And I can't remember if I had to do push-ups or I can't remember how it worked. A lot of times to embarrass you, you wouldn't even have to do the push-ups. Your squad or your team or your platoon or your company. I can't remember. All I know is I'm sitting there as a just a crap sandwich soldier in front of my whole battalion of infantrymen, in front of my first sergeant or sergeant major. I'm the only guy who doesn't have a bolt because I didn't know how to tie the stupid thing to the bolt. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how to do it. So when I tied the tag to the bolt, it fell off. That is the most embarrassing thing of my life. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure what that did in terms of I don't know, but, I survived to tell the tale. You see what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, I probably came back and I probably got a fight with somebody because people were laughing at me. I probably said, let's, if you're going to, because that's such a, it's full of piss and vinegar. And I said, you're going to laugh at me, we're going to go. And I'm not even a big guy. I was 5'9", probably 160 pounds back then, 150 pounds. But I'm just so pissed off at the world because everyone's laughing at me. You know what I'm saying? And it's all right. People are gonna be laughing at me. We're going. And but I don't think I fought because I think if I got one more Article 15, I think I was gonna get kicked out or something. I don't remember. But I just remember if I had to be on my best behavior. If I got one more thing, I was gonna be in real trouble. And I had no place to go back to, dude. I wasn't going back to Silver Spring, Maryland. I guess my dad lived in Alexandria by then. I had nothing left. There was nothing for me back, quote, home, unquote. So I had to make work. So I know people were laughing at me, snickering, and I was just feeling like an idiot. But I couldn't fight anybody because if I did, I'd get in trouble, and then I think I'd be kicked out. So anyway, long story short, the net result was actually a good thing. Those embarrassing moments made me become, I hate to say a better soldier, but it just said, okay, I survived. I lived to tell the tale. No one remembers. You know what I'm saying? But it's embarrassing. It was embarrassing. No one remembers it. And that's one of the things when you're about your most embarrassing, you will laugh in the future, laugh at yourself. So if you listen to my man Dustin's thing, he's laughing at himself. Now, he's a grown man, dude. I do embarrassing stuff all the time. I just don't care. As you get older, you just don't care. You just got to learn to laugh, dude. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I figured I'd share that story with you. Literally, So we go to NTC in May. We come back. We went again. Did we go the next summer or we go? I can't remember. We went twice. I can't remember if it was that year or the next year. So that was in '89, and I went to Pre-Ranger in winter of '90. Yeah, it was, man, that's crazy. So 7 months later, I think my platoon sergeant said you should go to Pre-Ranger school. I was like, why? I don't want to be. I had no desire to be a leader or anything like that. I guess, I don't know if he thought I was a good soldier, because I was always cock-strong, dudes. You know what I'm saying? I always moved product. I carried a hell of a lot of weight in the rucksack. I became the M60 gunner, carried a spare barrel tripod, plus the M60, plus a boatload of freaking ammo. You know what I'm saying? I always dug the ditches. They say, dig this foxhole over here. I complain. That's what an infantryman who doesn't complain is not an infantryman. That's for sure. But I always did what they're, always do what they told you. As Rage Against the Machine, I won't do what they told you. We want to get the jab. I will do what I told you. I will do that, Fauci, because I listen to big government. We get the jab how many times? Anyway, I did what I was told. And then come December, January of 90. Yeah, December 89, January of 1990. We had a Pre-Ranger school, 3 weeks. And I remember it was freezing. Maybe it might have been in March. And I passed that. I literally have no idea how I did. I just... And then 2 months later, I'm going to Ranger school. So I went from the worst soldier in the history of mankind to actually making it through 2 phases of a 4-course Ranger school. And seeing all these other guys drop out, man. I didn't make it. There's no way I was going to be a Ranger. But, I said, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do it. And then I came back, and I ate like a freaking pig, and I drank like a pig, and I don't want to say fat, but I see these pictures of me, I bet I put on some weight, dudes. Okay, with good times. All right, learn to laugh. We'll see you.